I think Selby is working with museums to set up some entranceways. I have always found that the sound and voice is the hardest thing to get working.
Try sound again. Are anybody hearing me?
I heard you just then. It's Eileen. I heard you.
Okay, now it's working. Okay, apparently was not working in that location. And I see that Amy has voice on. Are you hearing me, Amy? Now, Eileen.
Yeah, should I turn mine off?
No, don't turn
Okay.
it off. Listen, actually, it needs to be on for you to hear in any case. If you want to silence it, if you click on the green button again, it will turn red and that will mute your mic, but there everything else should work. If you all look here, these panels, click on any one of them and it will open a web page for you. In your browser, you're already in your browser, so it will open a web page that near you.
Great, I did it. I could open it, and I just clicked back through my browser back to the world, back to the Cyber Lounge.
Okay, you don't have to do that. You can you will be able to continue talking in Cyber Lounge, even if you are looking at another web page in that browser. And the way I would have used this before is I have a collection of items, pieces of information. Well, for example, here is Cyber Lounge tutorial and suggestion. That tells you how to do all sorts of things in Cyber Lounge. Essentially, and of course, I built everything here, so and the tutorial tells people how to do it.
That's great. We can. Oh, here's Amy. I'm hearing a child's voice. I don't know if it's somebody's home or if it's.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah, I think that's my daughter there.
I thought it might have been a website that got opened. She
Yeah,
sounds too cute.
haven't figured out how to toggle it off yet.
Hmm. Amy is not hearing. Okay. Amy has her microphone muted. Sean, are you hearing us? Now you have your microphone muted at the moment.
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. And then let me show you something else. Now, well, here is an illustration of a movie. If you click on this, you should see a movie. I haven't checked this in a while, so I won't guarantee that it works. And yes, you can sit over here.
Sean, how did you sit down?
You click on the little white ball in the chair.
I just heard you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And how do I stand up?
Okay.
I sat down.
Yes, you sat down, and well, you should be seeing a
It says stop animation. Could that
stop
be it?
animation graphic. Yes, that's
Yeah.
what
You
you
do
should
that
be
to
seeing.
stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, then I stood up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and where is that? I don't.
It should be upper right.
It was
Oh,
it was
yeah.
big. It was big. Yeah. Ah, very good. I like the fact you can get moving so quickly.
You can move. Notice that if you want to walk fast, hold down the shift key, caps key, and you walk real fast.
And is there a way to control the camera with
Um, Not yet. There will be. Well, there is a way to control it, but it's not easy. If you look down, you see something that looks like a graphic that looks like an old-fashioned camera, the old-fashioned kind that made film. Made.
Yeah, the video. Well,
And you
Al would
click
know
on
that.
and you will free your camera, but it's not easy to control at this point.
right.
But we'll have to look at your tutorials. But basically, you can make some kind of smaller islands that you said could become kind of a way to get into some of our bigger islands in the future, or even just make this standalone.
Well, this can either be a standalone. This is mostly a standalone now.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have duplicates of some places that are in OpenSim, and those places are would be used for transitions. That is to say, to introduce people to OpenSim by way of starting them here.
Mm. Oh, that sounds great.
Now, no, I built all this stuff that's sitting here, so I just to point out that you can build if you can build things in here. We probably will not do much building in here. Much of what we would build, what we will bring into here, we can bring in mesh. It's quite easy to import mesh into here now, and I will be publishing some description of it pretty soon. And Sean is in voice, I see. Are you hearing this? Okay, Sean?
Yeah, I think I must have overloaded it playing with the camera or something, and it kicked me off back to the loading screen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You must have done something. There are tricks there are things that I do that are actually the normal actions in OpenSim, and there's at least one of them that will kick me back to a reload. I don't quite know what it is, but it does. I do that to myself every once in a while. Now, notice, let's see, is there anything else?
You can reload quickly, though. That's nice.
Yes, it does reload pretty fast. And let's see, the signs. Oh, yeah. Here's one, and I think this is also this is also a. Yeah.
I'm very tall. I have a tall avatar.
And then actually now this of course this is a very messy place because I'm a messy. I do things messily because I'm always trying something new.
Right, me too.
And then let's see. We can also teleport. And there's another. So when you are ready, you can. And by the way, voice distance doesn't make any difference around in this play. So
nice.
So I can walk over here. There's several features that are available, and Dieter is adding new stuff. More or less all that actually right at this time he is busy introducing starting up a business a class for a university in Germany, and there will be he expects to have about 400 students, and one of the reasons that he's got that school was interested is they don't have any way to handle 400 students in a classroom. Especially.
So he could bring 400 people into this space at once?
No,
Oh, okay.
not exactly. He can make 40 of these places and bring in 10 people to each one.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
so it works out that he can handle 400 people. And the arrangement is, because of the way that class will work. Of course, if he was actually going to give a lecture to 400 people, he would simply go on YouTube and stream it to everybody. And you can stream to it many times more than the 400 via YouTube's resources. But this is a class of people working together, and they are working together in small groups.
So he probably doesn't get to each group. He sets them out and
Well, there's also an instructor, and then they will. I think they will have some teacher's assistants that will either be one in each group, or they will move around from group to group. Now, all of those places are identical, and what he is doing is making up packages of. He's making up. Well, the instructor makes up an instructional package, and then the people, I guess, the teacher's assistants go and pick up the instructional package, which is sort of like an object, and they take it to the classroom, and make it available to everybody.
oh, that's great. So he's got the TAs kind of making sure each group is working and reports back. So he doesn't have to go to all 40, but he can.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And the teacher doesn't go to all 40. Now, of course, obviously, if they need help from the instructor, somebody will call and ask for help from the instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, it's pretty fast to go in there.
Yeah.
And you'll notice, actually, one of the nice things is you notice everybody's got their name on there.
Yeah.
And so you even know who everybody is. And let's see, let me show you another thing that we got, a feature that we've got, that's over here in this direction. Now these posters are informational posters that I had out for a MOOC that I was teaching last month. Well, actually, in September, in August, so 2 months ago now. And here you see a little. I'm able to set up places that are like this but have different information. So here is my educational place, and if you click on that little ball, you'll go there. That little ball underneath the sign says education.
Should we do that? Should we all go there now?
Why don't you do that? Okay.
So we're in a different space now. Oh, okay, I see. Yep. Big
You're
sign
not
education.
really in a different space. You're actually in the same space. And if you look in the direction that I am facing, you will see the place that we just came from.
Oh, so we teleported, huh?
Yeah, we teleported. And okay, so I made a bigger sign here, and I got some other. One thing I would point out, and this is part of something an idea that I'm really wanting to push, which is we could have a teacher's assistant available on the web. And now the teacher's assistant who is on the web can know all sorts of things about what is available on the web. For example, if you look at the thing I'm facing right now, Smithsonian Museum of Natural History. Click on that and look at the web page that comes up.
Oh, yeah, I saw this one just the other day. This is great. Although right now it's taking over my screen, so I'll have to.
Well, you've just gone to that page. You still got
I'll go back. Yeah.
Cyber Lounge page
Uh-huh.
Just open
in-
another tab.
in another tab.
Yeah. Yeah. At one time it opened in the window. I guess it depends on how it's set.
It just opened. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it does. I'm sure it depends on how it's set, and possibly how the page is set. But at any rate, the point is, this is actually a pretty good tour of the Smithsonian Natural History Museum.
Yeah, I can still hear the audio.
You can
So this
still
is a
hear the
great way
audio.
to
That's right.
continue. Yeah.
No,
So it's a great way to demonstrate other web pages and
that's
still
right.
the audios.
So if I knew anything about the Smithsonian, I could go to I could
lesson
open that
continues.
webpage
Yeah.
and talk to you about that webpage. So
Exactly.
as what would happen with the teacher's assistant. And
Yeah. Cool.
What point I'm making is teachers in school, and this could be done in a grade school, or not for first graders, but maybe for sixth graders, certainly for middle school, seventh and eighth graders, ninth graders, and of course another thing that would be the case by the time you get to high school. There are smart students.
And this page lands on a 3.
I missed, what did you say, this page what?
I think he's having some mic issues.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is...
No, the page that you sent us to is a 3...
yeah. It is a 3D, actually.
3-dimensional. Maybe I should come back.
Well, you can come back, but it basically the page I sent you to, and you can save that. That's in your browser right now. You can save it if you ever want to go back. That's part of the idea. That's part of the advantage. If we open it in, it opens in your browser, and you can save it as a web link or as a bookmark. And the thing now, that particular page is a clever way. It's really almost not 3D, but it looks like it, works like it. And actually, it's a collection of 360 fixed location images. And so you can only go to those particular locations, but if there's a lot of them and they're well selected, so you can look around the place pretty well. But the point I'm getting is, I'm thinking there is a whole new job description someday, and maybe soon, should emerge. And that is one of a teacher's assistant on the web. And the teacher would simply access the teacher's assistant. The teacher does not have to know about a lot of things. Because you wouldn't have to use just one teacher's assistant. Yeah. You could have a dozen if you needed them.
Yeah, I meant it was a 360 image.
Yeah, it is a good 360. And of course, teachers can't keep track of all of this stuff by themselves. They simply cannot spend the time necessary. For example, I found the Smithsonian myself. Nobody told me about it. I found it with the assistance of Google, but nobody else would need to find it if I were their teacher's assistant, because I would know about it. And I would, if I came to a class as a teacher's assistant, I would not only know about it, I would bring all of the information that I need here, the web links, here to the class. And if there were some students studying natural history, I could show them how to go to the Smithsonian and look through various kinds of things that are relevant to natural history. Now here, this page, by the way, this is the summary page about 3D web worlds. So this is, and I keep this summary page up to date. So whenever I publish a new article, I list it here in this summary page. So even though the summary page is dated, oh, I don't know, many months ago, the contents are up to date and have links to the most recent articles that I published.
That's great. And you keep this up. Yeah.
Has anybody been shutting off their microphone?
No, I've just been leaving mine on.
No, yeah, I have mine on. You can shut them off and shut. Well, you don't shut them off. If you click the green mic now, it will turn red. And if you look up at the little panel up to the left, you will see that if your green mic graphic turns red, there will also be a red indicator, as there is for Amy, indicating that she has muted her mic, and Sean muted his
Can I
mic.
ask a question?
Of course, everybody can ask questions. What question? Anybody? What's the question?
I think we lost Aldo.
Maybe
I think his mic's going in and out because
Oh.
sometimes he gets choppy for me.
Mhm. Oh, all right. Well, that was Sean, I guess.
Oh, maybe it was Sean. Yeah.
Ye-
Although that was Al's voice.
Oh,
I know his voice.
mm.
But I
Yeah.
can see infinite numbers of things you can do here. I think we have to take the time to learn. We have to go to your tutorials and learn.
Yeah. Well, just as a test, Amy, can you turn your mic on? And my now. Can you guys hear me?
Apparently was. Now Eileen turned her mic. Turned her mic
Yes.
off, or rather,
Can
she muted
you
it.
hear me?
You see, it shows red, and she still should be hearing. Okay, Eileen. Yes, Eileen can still hear, and that's the way the muted mic should work.
This is Al.
Yeah, Al. Okay, you had a question, didn't you?
I think he's back.
Mhm.
I wonder if he's got a low internet connection or something.
Well, he probably has some kind of a problem, and unfortunately, when something gets disconnected, you have to go through the whole process of reconnecting. So yeah, the point I was getting at is you could set up places which turn out to be virtual classrooms that students could come to and study a particular topic, and they could be staffed by the people who are particularly skilled in handling that particular topic. And teachers don't have to learn everything they're teaching. Sean can hear at least.
Yeah, so I see you just toggle the mic on and off. It just turns red versus green. That's easy. And
Yeah.
he can hear too.
Yeah, no, I'm back now.
Oh, okay. Yes.
That sounds actually really interesting. The teacher's assistant and everything too. Is there any way you could possibly involve like the 3D glasses in this world?
Probably not. At least the technology is not there. It would just take technology. I mean, technically it is possible, but somebody would have to build the connection to the 3D glasses kind of viewer. And I don't know of anybody that's working on that right now.
So this is kind of open source, and are people generously donating server space at this point, or how do we?
Well,
It seems
right
people are.
now, Dieter is making space available, donating it, and now he actually is charging. He is getting paid for the educational project that he's working on, but he's donating this kind of space, and you already got a place, Eileen. If you registered, you have a place. And if you go, click on that push pin again, and this time,
Actually, I didn't register yet. I just came in as a guest.
okay,
Yeah, I have to register.
click on the push pin, and after you register, click on the push pin, and click on private. A world that you get will be originally private. You can set it public, and so you go there, you click on that, and you'll find your page listed. And it'll be under private. It'll be the only one listed, because you're not allowed to go to anybody else's place at the beginning. And now I of course reset mine to be public, because I want people to see it. And for Sean, we have not established a number, and as of right now, I think it would probably be around 20. I don't know for sure. Because we have not had that many people come in. However, by way of pointing it out, since this is nothing but a web page. We can make multiple web pages, and most sites you've got to have hundreds of web pages. And of course, that is in fact the technology that Dieter is using for his classroom. He is handling 400 people, but they're not all in the same place. In the same web page, there's 40 different web pages that all look the same, and he made them the same because all he had to do to make them was copy paste into a new location. And once he had that set up, they can come in, and the voice, if it works at all, we had a problem getting it at the beginning, but at least voice, if it's working, will handle, I think it's probably around 64 people right now, if necessary, is set up to handle that many. I'm not sure that we could get the world to work very well with 64 people, but I'm not sure. We have not tested it.
Well, that's what. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
yes.
I hear.
Yep. Yep.
That's what I was trying to ask before. We've had several microphones open, and we haven't had the issues that we have with Kitely or even Second Life. When you have a couple of microphones open, there's so much interference that we've gotten into the habit of muting the mics unless you're talking. But here we've got 3 mics open, and as what Selby just mentioned, being able to handle 64 mics, my impression, once we've gotten this audio to work, the audio is much better than even in Kitely.
I think it's the German engineering.
I'm impressed.
I think the audio is primarily handled by the viewer. So Firestorm most likely, and I think they are using a fairly old player, and this is using a newer player. I would say, as far as the number you can handle, it is. Has anybody ever used TeamSpeak?
No.
Okay. TeamSpeak is a server pretty much like the one that we're using, and a server-based you can get things on TeamSpeak that will handle 16 or 32 or 64 people, and probably more than that in multiples, powers of two. Um, and I don't know that there's any, as long as everybody is quiet except the person who is speaking, I don't think there's any problem about having multiple mics on at the same time.
I think, does it depend? Now, I have a headset on and I'm in a quiet environment. But if you have, the dogs barking and all that, and often enough we have somebody who's forgotten and they're talking
Oh, yeah.
over. Yeah.
Well,
So I think
that's
you have the
true.
same mic issue. I think that's more a, mic courtesy protocol than I think the actual technology.
Yeah, that should well be. I normally leave my mic on, but I do have a headset, and I've got a mic right in front of my mouth, um, so it doesn't pick, and it's pretty well directional, so it
Hmm.
doesn't pick up sounds from anything else. It doesn't even pick up sound when I inadvertently leave my speaker on at the same time. It doesn't much. That doesn't have any really noticeable effect.
Mm. Oh, that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just noticed the audio is pretty impressive
Yeah, the audio is pretty
compared
good.
to Kitely or.
Hmm.
And Sean wants to know how many people can stably be here at one time. Did you say 64, you think?
No, no. I said I think I'm pretty sure 20 or something in the early 20s, like 24 or 5, we have had present at some time. Um, uh, but I don't know what the limit is. My own impression is, if I were thinking of using it, this kind of system, I would not think of having more than about 12 or 15 people here. And the reason is, you get more if you get over 12 people, they're not going to be able to talk to each other. They will either, everybody will sit and listen to one speaker, or they will form into small groups. And they can then be in two different places. If you want to have a large audience, I mentioned before, and I would remind everyone, we can stream to YouTube. Um, and from YouTube, of course, everybody can pick it up, and we could have millions of listeners.
Oh, yours, I didn't get that before. You mean you can stream the virtual world through YouTube?
Uh,
So, yeah.
yes, we could. Now, understand, we have not test demonstrated that. So I cannot say for sure that everything would work okay. But technically, the technology is all there to make it work. And in fact, um, I know all the tools that I would use if I wanted to do that kind of streaming. Yes, I would be able to stream from, if the tools all work together and don't interfere with each other, um, it would be quite straightforward to stream to YouTube, and of course from there to stream out to any large number of people that want to listen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how is the builder? Is that fairly intuitive? Is it anything like building in Kitely, or is there like an inventory somewhere where you can get things?
Well, yeah, well, both of those things. Now let me see. Um, back in the other place, I believe, is where I left the.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think we have to. I just haven't gotten a chance to go and follow the tutorials yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, actually, if you go to this page right here that I'm standing in front of, click on that
Okay.
button
All
on
right.
on that page, and it will open a window for you. And in there, you will find a place that under Cyberlounge that refers to tutorials, and those tutorials tell everything, know how to do everything that you see around here. As to whether it's intuitive, uh, well, I I don't know. I didn't have any trouble doing it. And so I can't, whether it was intuitive to everybody, I don't know. I have in other words, a page that combines all the tutorials on Cyberlounge. Now I'm working on tutorials for 3D web worlds. That's another place that I'm working with, but I haven't really got the tutorials organized for that one.
Yeah. We're getting some of that feedback loop now too.
Yeah,
Um, but
yeah.
Selby, so you think right now, if we go in, we practice, we set up some worlds and learn how to do this, that we should be able to have access for a while. But you
Oh yes,
think,
I'm well very confident that you will have access, because you can each get a world if you want it, um, and you can build and it is Peter. Well, I don't think he would ever, at least not in some number of years, want people, the initial incoming people, to pay for anything, and it should not cost him very much. Now, of course, what could well happen is we would want not just one page a piece, but 10 pages a piece. Well, then
mhm,
you would have to start thinking about what kind of charge. I don't think in the number of pages, however, would ever be a big issue, because the economics of this is different from OpenSim. Uh, if you do not have anything like the kind of expensive browser that you use in OpenSim, um, the browser server that you use in OpenSim, um, the server is not much more complicated than the one that you use in a flat web page. It's a little bit more, and it will cost a little bit more.
it's more like a GIF. It's like an animation file than really resing a 3D environment. So
It doesn't res the environment, actually.
yeah.
Yes, that's why it's not complicated. You are resing the environment in your machine. Your browser is doing that, and the browser comes and is carrying the software to do that.
Mhm.
Uh,
So it's not going to be that like rich immersive experience, but it's going to be, a visualization of the people in the environment. And, as you said, you quickly forget that, we're not high resolution, but we certainly do feel like we're all in the same space right now.
that's what emerges fairly quickly, I think, for at least that's our experience. And yes, and what would happen is we would be able to talk people. We would. We would explain to people, okay, now this is what we've got here, and if you like this, we have something a lot better. It's a little harder to get to, but if you want to go in, we'll talk you through the whole process.
Yeah,
And
this is a great introductory point.
by the way, I am pushing, and I'm having some success now at the idea of making entry to OpenSim simpler by a lot than it has been, because there are bunches of things that go in that you have to do. You have to know what a URI is. I've
Hmm. Yeah.
I've told Ilan, you do not want people to have to know to get there here to have to know what a URI is. Nobody except geeks knows what a URI is. How to
Right.
get it or how to, and you have to fix your Firestorm to give it at this location. You do not have to do that. All you can make a customized viewer that goes only to your place and is already customized with the correct URI, which Elon knows, and I know, but I don't want to know. And not only does it save your customer a lot of trouble, it actually keeps your customer coming to your place as opposed to going to various other places in OpenSAM.
Oh, and we've been waiting for that for schools. And
Yeah.
is that the one that's coming up real soon, Selby? They had hoped for September, and I don't know if Al and Amy and Sean know about it, but they're really coming up with this private network. So
That,
you can get in, I guess, more simply, and then you can control access,
that's
which,
right.
yeah.
And you can, well, for the virtual private grids, VPGs, which should be publicly, they are already operating. They're in private beta right now. They should be in public beta by the middle of this month.
Hmm.
And um, the yes, that's what's really forced their hand. They are Kitely is already making um, individual custom viewers for each yeah, grid, um, and that of course, because of course that's the way you have to do it. If you since you've got a grid, you have to have URI to get people to it, and therefore you have to have a custom viewer. But there's a custom viewer only needs a different URI. You could also put some other stuff in it also for setting it up. But yes, the point is what I expect to have happen, and what I think Elon will have now in the VPGs is the person goes to a website, registers, gets a password, registration, and so forth. Then clicks on a button that installs the viewer, customized viewer. It doesn't have to go to another different web page to find Firestar and figure out what he should use. And he should not even have to tell them whether he's using Windows or a Mac, because they can tell that. That is, a smart website can ask that of your computer and get that information. And so it would install itself and with no trouble, and it would then bring you into the virtual world, into the place, a pre-chosen place, which is set up specifically for newcomers. It's getting
That's
a little
wonderful.
bit late. Yes.
Yeah, I know we've got to get moving. Well,
When do you
and
think?
Selby, I'm hoping you can come and talk to our little group more about that too.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I will as soon as I have some further information about it. I expect I'll have further information in a couple of weeks.
When do you think that might be available to be able to get in that way?
They said last month.
Well,
I mean, they're close.
I expect the announcement will be available in the middle of this month. At least that's the word I get from Elon. And he's usually pretty accurate. And now, as to when it will be available, multiple additional grids will be available. I don't know. I would expect that by the middle of next month, of this month, when it is announced, it will be set up to have at least a limited number, make additions of at least a few new grids. It should not take them very long once they've got it set up and verify. What they're doing now is actually testing it and getting the bugs out of it. Once it's set up like that and is working, they can duplicate it pretty fast. Well, they will have it in automatically duplicating itself pretty quickly.
Selby, when they get to that download that you just talked about, that's going to be wonderful. We get the privacy thing. That's going to be wonderful. I go talk to a high school principal on Wednesday, and they've been waiting. They do not like going on a landing page with ladies in skimpy outfits. That does not go over too well with the parents. But, if we have the privacy. The one other thing, though, I constantly come against with schools, though, is their firewalls or whatever it is that doesn't let them allow this type of software to be downloaded. Will that be fixed too?
No.
No, so they'll
not for
still.
Kitely, not for OpenSim, because you have to download something, and as long as you have to download something, there will.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now, let me point out that does not apply to web worlds. You can take web worlds into your You can go to your local library and go into a web world with no permissions of any sort, because of course it's in a browser. Whatever access it needs through firewalls, it doesn't. The browser already has it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's right. And I see this really as the intro to the more robust worlds. It gets people started. It gets them, I understanding the concept of a 3D simulated meeting, and then they can go higher powered when they're ready.
Yes. Well, I'm going to have to leave now.
Okay. Well,
Thank
thank you very much, everybody. And thank you, Selby. Really appreciate this.
Okay.
Take care.
And by the way, all you have to do is log out. You don't have to do anything to leave.
Okay.
Sign out.
Good night. Yeah.
Good
Thank
night.
you
I'll
so
see
much.
y'all.
Bye.
No, thanks.